Hello, Nathaniel. Could you please give an introduction about yourself?
So I'm Nathaniel. I'm 22, turning 23 in a month. Um, Currently doing boxing, and outside of boxing, I am a coach for short form content and a social media manager, clipping manager,
Mhm.
and I also do what's called clipping as well. So actually
How
editing the content.
how did you get into coaching short form?
Yeah, so this is a very new thing. So about late January, one of the content creators that I follow created a sort of like a clipping server, and I ended up joining that. Made a new account, and then through that account, this content creator kind of saw what I was able to do, and in I believe late February, I was able to go from just clipping into eventually getting to a call with him because he DM'd me and he wanted to, or initially when he first DM'd me, he was like, "Hey, I would like you to kind of create a rundown of how you create your clips. Uh, I think it provided a lot of value to the other clippers, so that's what I did." And I did that, made the video, and then I woke up the next day, and he essentially said, yo, you're hired. I want to pay you for coaching, like to coach the clipping community." And then it kind of went off there.
Interesting. Because yeah, usually people make their own agencies, but you chose the route of actually teaching other people how to edit themselves. Uh, did you have prior experience with video editing before you joined the real world, or is it a skill you learned within?
I learned it completely from the real world in the affiliate marketing campus. I initially joined in December of 2023. Yeah, when
Okay.
it opened up back
Okay,
then.
let's get into that then. So, what led to you actually joining? Why did you decide to step inside?
So it was in 2022. Quite frankly, wasn't really. It was probably so far the a really bad year in my life. I was on antidepressants. It was really messing with my sort of emotions, and that kind of led to a lot of losses of friendships, etc. I don't really blame them looking back. So as the year goes on, I I would go to multiple therapist sessions, and then in I believe October, uh, I kind of said something to the therapist about how I don't want to go to university because I think it's a waste of money, and I don't really want to get into 50K in debt. And the therapist kind of like snapped at me. She literally screamed at me, saying like, what kind of course costs 50K, blah blah blah. And at that specific point, I don't really want to get into the exact details, but that specific moment, before that, was a really bad time for me. So I completely broke down then, and I believe the day after, I found a short of Andrew talking about how depression is not real. And building up to that point, I really wanted to kind of get rid of the depression. I didn't want to keep, you know, be essentially stuck with it. I really wanted to find a solution. The antidepressants weren't working. So I decided right then and there, after I watched the short, like, yep, I don't believe in depression. And I quit my antidepressants right then and there. And after the next day, I was just kind of doing my own thing. And at the time, I was watching a lot of streams on Twitch. And at that time, Andrew was starting to pick up a lot of traction. This was late 2022. And I remember one of the Twitch chatters saying, Hustlers University. So it kind of got me curious because it was very polar. The chat was polarized back then as well. There were some people that hated him, some people kind of just memeing Sarah. So I searched up Hustlers University, and it was kind of my first exposure to make money online. So I looked at the testimonials, etc., and I right then and there I decided, yeah, I want to join. I want to. This is the path I want to take. I don't want to go to university. Before that, I quit after about 3 months. I didn't really learn anything. They're kind of just teaching like literal high school stuff. But I did not have any money at the time, so I asked if my mom could pay for it, but she's like, "Oh well, the reviews are there's a lot of people saying like it's a scam, blah blah blah." But I really really wanted to join, so what I did, uh, I looked at my PS5 at the time, and I was like, "All right, I'm just gonna sell this thing. I don't really play anyway." I sold that, and that's how it got me into Hustlers University at the time.
Mhm. Wow. Wow. Quite a story there. So, as you said, a very rough 2022, and you were actually very dedicated to it because you're still around. A lot of people might actually just go in, check it out, and then decide that they don't want to put in the work and then leave. But clearly, you've actually been, I'm sure you've been putting in the work, right? Or has it been in stages? Maybe initially you didn't see much progress and it's only more recently. What was the situation like for you in that sense?
So after I joined Hustlers University, it was very new. It was definitely very overwhelming. I believe I started off with copywriting, and at the time, I didn't even know what copywriting was. I kind of just sent email outreach without really knowing what I essentially do. Got some replies, a lot of bad replies, of course, but I almost got one client, but I wasn't really able to close because I didn't really have a basic understanding of copywriting. Did that for a few months. Uh, very briefly tried out the social media campus at the time, but what what I really was consistent at was when the affiliate marketing campus opened up as a real world launched, and that is essentially I stuck with that for about 2 to 3 months, maybe 4 months, and I wasn't making money, so I decided, you know what, I'm going viral, or I went viral several times. I'm going to try and get a client. So I kind of looked at my subscribe on YouTube, and I thought, oh, this guy, he's uploaded shorts before, but he doesn't really upload consistently. So I'm just going to shoot my shot. I'm going to try and get him as a client, send him an email, and I did a compliment for the first line, and then I created like a free edit for him, and he actually ended up replying, and I got him as my first client at the time.
Mm.
And then
Very
after that, I kind of stuck with that for a while. So yeah.
okay. What was that like getting your first client? Did you get on a call with him? How did you pitch your services? How much did you actually charge for it?
So it was actually closed through the email. I didn't have to get or I didn't have to get on any calls or anything. He saw the edit. He's like, "Oh, this is really good. How much?" And this was the morning after because the this client is in America. So I kind of just thought up a number. I was like, it's gonna cost 1,000 for. I'm not too sure how much shorts. I believe 3 per day. So I just said 1,000, and then he negotiated it down to 500. And since I was inexperienced, I kind of just went, okay, yeah, I'll take it at 500. And yeah,
And what was that like getting your first online income?
it was crazy. It was a really crazy feeling. Looking back, it was only after a few months, but at the time, it felt like a lot longer than that. But after I got the money sent to my Stripe and then the payment went through, yeah, I got really happy. I celebrated. I was like, yes, out loud. And yeah, that the money. Looking back, the money isn't really like the main thing. It's like kind of like that mental barrier. Like I'm able to actually do something on myself. I don't need to go to these interviews for jobs or university, etc. And yeah, it's just that the mental barrier just of because before that I really didn't have any self-confidence in or self-belief that I could really do anything. And yeah, it's that's the main thing, just the mental
Mhm. Mhm.
effects of it. Yeah.
And what would you say for what contributed most to improving your mental state? And how different are you feeling now compared to 2022?
So probably what contributed the most was probably just the overall progressing of my kind of journey as an entrepreneur, because before that I felt completely stuck. I actually didn't even graduate from high school, and I'm in a family where expectations are like we have a lot of people that are doctors, etc., like very you know highly educated people, and that really essentially hurt me mentally back then, dropping out of high school. So just the overall effect of being able to make my go out there, pitch someone, get a client, and then progress further and further as an entrepreneur, make more money, and just do everything myself. It's definitely a very big improvement from then when I really couldn't. I had zero self belief to now, where I'm very very confident in my abilities. I am essentially my mindset is things that I want is just a matter of time, and yeah.
Mhm. And since you said that at the end, it's only a matter of time, how have things scaled for you to getting towards where you want to be?
So I won't say that from 2023 to now, I won't say that it's been a very smooth ride. After I got my first client, I was able to get into his network at the time, and that kind of led into more and more clients very easily uh, through networking. But from 2023 to 2024, everything kind of blew up, and I lost my business in, I believe, yeah, April of 2024. So about a year, yeah, about a year ago from now. And since that happened, I've kind of felt very lost. I didn't really know what else I could do. I kind of lost my, like I was kind of relying on the network essentially for everything. So building up to now, I'm able to, well, yeah, through 2024, I kind of did nothing. But then it eventually reached that point where I got another opportunity, which was the clipping coaching at the beginning of this year. So yeah,
Mhm.
that is definitely, I would say, a much bigger opportunity just because of I won't really get into the specifics, but it's definitely a lot more scalable, like very, very scalable.
Good, good, good. Is that something you can outsource in future? The actual like train someone and then they'll start training those people?
Uh, I've thought about that. I did have people like a team back then, but I didn't really like the fact that the quality will drop. Um, so I'm very particular about the overall like process. So I've been kind of leaning more towards a coaching, and I kind of, yeah, kind of like just a coaching. I kind of run coaching and kind of fulfill that myself versus outsourcing the parts of clipping to
Mhm.
other people.
Fair enough. And what about? income, then how much have you made online so far? As you said, 2024. That wasn't too good of a year, or was it 2023? 2024, right?
2024. Yeah, yeah.
Yeah, exactly. So, with that included, then 2024 not being too good of a year, what's the total so far?
So from 2024 to now, it's about 1.6k USD. With that deal that I got with my client now, it's a 1k USD setup fee, but it also has a 10% rev share. So the way the rev share works is I get paid based off the views gained from the clipping community. So if the community gets 10 million views collectively, then I get 1k. So it's kind of more like a long term play.
Mhm. What about combined with 2023? Because what I meant is everything
Oh
including the budget for
yeah,
2024. So everything in total, like how much was made?
yeah, about 11.5k USD.
1.5K. And you said you basically dropped out of high school, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. So were you working part time or doing anything? Or what does your average day look like at the moment?
Um, Working part time now or back then.
I guess before as well. Like either before and now, were you working part time or full time or any kind of other work outside of online work?
So back then, I couldn't really stay at a job for more than, I'd say the longest was probably 3 weeks or something. I couldn't really hold down a job. Uh, it just wasn't really something that I wanted. Um, I don't have a job now, of course, or like a traditional job, um, the typical like 9 to 5. But my average day now, it kind of essentially, I would wake up at 7. I would have the coaching call, like group coaching call, at 8 a.m. my time, and then after that, I would get into editing, and yeah, the majority of the work would get done in the start of the day. Now, sometimes there can be some more work that needs to be done because I am currently just focusing on the one client versus trying to get as many clients as humanly possible. Uh, but if there isn't more work after the editing in the morning, then I'd usually just go boxing if it's a Tuesday, Wednesday, or Thursday in the evening, and then yeah.
I will ask about boxing in a bit. It'll be interesting about that. But before going on to it, with the money you've made so far, what do you say to people who might think, why don't you just work a regular job? You would have earned more money in that time.
So I'd say it could be ego. It it's mainly I don't really want to spend my time dedicating, like it's kind of like a burn the birds thing. I don't want to. I decided when I initially joined Hustlers University, I kind of made that like decision, like okay, this is it. I'm gonna just make money. The only way I'm gonna make money is through an online business. I'm not gonna be like, oh well, I could get a job if it fails. No, I just decided right then and there, this is the only way I'm gonna make money. So yeah.
Hmm. Okay, makes sense. And then about boxing, how does that benefit you? What changes have you noticed?
Yeah, so before boxing, I was actually doing Muay Thai for about a year. Um, but with the Muay Thai and boxing, it definitely, I knew up to this point that I was already quite tough, but with the boxing and Muay Thai, I don't know how to explain it, but it's just getting, being there with fighting someone that, wants to hit you in the face, whatever. And you also have to kind of compete with them, fight them back. It really did help with like the kind of like the fighter mentality. I did remember back then, before Hustlers University, like a lot earlier in my journey, I would kind of like a quitter. So if it doesn't really turn out well, so it would usually, what would happen is it would go well for a couple weeks, and then eventually I would run into a roadblock, and then I would very typically kind of just like, oh, whatever, I'll just move on. This kind of bled into a lot of areas of my life. It was mainly with gaming, so I would try and play some competitive games, and I would kind of get stuck, and I would just be like, yeah, well, I give up. I'm not trying anymore. So the fighting really did help with the. It kind of like taught me like, just essentially stick in there and just don't give up. Like quitting, I haven't really thought about like thinking about, oh well, I could just go off and do this thing instead. This isn't really working out. So yeah.
Amazing. And since you're on on this trajectory now, where do you see your life heading in the short term, medium term, and long term?
So short term, definitely, I'll definitely be able to make enough to leave Australia and kind of just kind of get out of here. Um, don't really like the politics here, plus the high taxes. Uh, really don't like those two in combination. Long term, definitely set up in somewhere like Dubai or whatever. Just essentially having being able to have that like freedom, that complete freedom, financial, location, time freedom, etc.
Mhm. What time span would you project for moving out? Or I'm not sure yet. Completely depends on finances.
So with my client now, some pretty big stuff is coming very soon. Uh, quite probably in the next day or two.
Mhm.
And the way I get paid, because I completely get paid based on performance. So I get paid. I forgot to mention this, but I mainly get paid on views as well. So I also run I have my own profiles on social media, and then I edit the client's content as well for myself, on top of the community that I manage for him. So depending how it goes when this thing happens, it could essentially, life could very quickly accelerate, because of how explosive social media is, with the views, because I get paid based on the views. I get paid at the moment $1 per 1,000 views. So yeah.
Yeah, very solid. So yeah, the rev share and the payment on views very scalable. So as you say, a lot can change very fast. And then I also want to add: is there any more to say about the impact Tate has had on your mindset, considering the state you were in 2022?
So I believe without Tate, I definitely would not be here. Um, at the time, I was just only looking for solutions. Went to all the normal uh, professionals, the ones that you're expected to go to. So just the mindset that, and the things that Tate talks about overall with self improvement and Sarah, it really, I'd say before that, I was a very reliant person, definitely very, I guess you could say, cowardly, etc. So the effect Tate has on me, first and foremost, definitely he's definitely saved my life, um, and even then, he's able to kind of give me the mindset necessary to essentially reach my dreams, provide for my family, etc., and really get past from just the kind of loser mindset, not really feeling like a loser. And yeah, because before that, I was thinking like, man, I'm a high school dropout, didn't even finish high school, dropped out of university, can't even hold a job for that long. So the effect Tate has had definitely is very transformative on my mindset and essentially everything as a whole. So yeah.
Well, yeah, insane, insane. That there are many other men in similar situations, and they don't have a way out. They don't find a way out, and that's super sad. So I'm very happy to hear that yeah, you were able. It took a lot of effort from your part, but you were able to overcome everything, and now yeah, you're on the verge of potential breakthrough in finance. Your mindset has tremendously improved. I'm sure physicality, everything. Like yeah, as you say, your life has gotten so much better. So great that you're able to share your story. I'm sure some people would have been inspired by it. And I'll wrap up with a final question, and that being, since this all basically began in the real world, what advice do you have to people who are unsure about joining because they're thinking it might be a scam?
So the most you have to lose is $50. Um, that is that is it. Uh, what other people will think, I feel like the main thing stopping people from joining or thinking it's a scam is kind of like the herd mentality. You know, they'll hear a lot of their peers say, "Oh, Andrew Tate is this, is that." That's definitely a scam. You know, they've watched maybe a few drama videos here and there, but all of that is irrelevant. What you actually have to lose is just $50, which is nothing. So I'd say just join. Like you literally have nothing to lose. Um, and even if these people are kind of worried about the backlash about, you know, other people kind of saying like, you know, why would you join that guy's, you know, course? You're an idiot. You got scammed. You know, just join quietly. You know, you don't have to broadcast to the world like, hey, I'm in the real world or whatever. Just join. Join for a month. See how it is. And yeah, because it changed my life. It changed hundreds of thousands of other people's lives as well.
Yeah,
So
very well said. And yeah, amazing to hear your story and the transformation that happened. And as you say, it saved your life. It doesn't get better than that. So yeah, Nathaniel, thank you for coming on. It's been great
thank you,
listening to you, and can do a follow up in future as well to see how everything's going for you. And until then, I wish you all the best.
thank you.